Hi, my name is Zadira, but you can call me Astro Girl. Recently, I've been excited about living batteries, or microbial fuel cells. They're basically battery-like chambers that are powered by microbes, specifically electric bacteria. The bacteria feeds off of the contents in the fuel cell to generate electricity and also clean up any waste products inside of the cell, like wastewater. This was interesting to me because I've been looking into problems related to fashion production, and one that stood out was water contamination from dyeing textiles, which I learned is the second leading cause of water contamination at the moment. I wanted to figure out what an implementable solution to this problem could be. Obviously, we can cut back on how much dye we're using, clothes we're buying and making, or use more organic dyes, among other things. But I wanted to figure out what a sustainable system to deal with dye waste we do create is, rather than dumping it into local bodies of water. Microbial fuel cells seemed like a great bet to do this, and I want to build cells that can convert dye waste into electricity. But first, how do I build one? I need to figure that out. So I ordered a kit because I thought if I ordered a kit, I could learn the process well of building a cell and then replicate it myself later on, or use the kit with dye waste in it instead. Also, where I live, we're in a lockdown, and we have a rule where we can only buy essential items right now, like groceries and toiletries, so I can't really go to hardware stores and pick up different items I need, and if I order everything online, it's gonna come at different times. So I ordered a kit from Science Buddie, which had mudwatts in it, 2 of them. Mudwatt is a brand that creates fuel cell kits. It also had items to test the voltage of the cells and a couple other things inside as well. And this is what I ended up building first. I'm gonna build the other one with a different experiment soon. This has mud in it because I wanted to really just understand how you build a cell. And in this video, which is really vlog style of me figuring everything out, you'll see me unbox the kit, look for some mud for the cell, and assemble it all in one day because I was so excited that it arrived. And now I'm waiting for the voltage to build up and to test how much voltage is in the cell, which will increase over time, and then I'll build my next cell soon. But if you are interested in doing this too, I'll put the link to where I got my kit in the description, and you can follow along with the assembly part of this video because I'll be walking through the steps to build a mud-powered microbial fuel cell. I'm going to open up my microbial fuel cell kit and see what's inside. I already know what I ordered, but thought it would be exciting to unbox it and actually see what the contents look like. This is a little tricky. The invoice is attached in a little Ziploc at the top. I think I got the invoice off of the top, and if I just get all the tape off here, we should be able to open this up. Okay, I got what I think is enough right now. I'm gonna use a Sharpie right where I got this, and then I'm gonna go to maybe a couple more locations and head home for today. I've decided that tonight I'm going to try to make my first fuel cell. It's just going to be a single chamber, so I'm only going to use one of the containers from my kit. Now for the part where this gets a little bit messy. I have a container here. I have some water. And I have my 3 sources: soil, mud, and I'm going to put the soil and mud, same thing, into this container and add a bit of water, just enough to make sure that it has a good amount of moisture, but it's not soaking wet for this experiment specifically, but it's also not dry soil. I think I've reached a pretty good consistency with the mud mixture, and hopefully there's a bunch of electric bacteria in there. I'm gonna start filling up my container with the first layer up to the 1 centimeter mark on the container. So I'm gonna use just one gloved hand so that I can use the other one to get the materials I need. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that it's really nicely compact so there isn't any air bubbles trapped down here. We want the air on top of the cathode, but not at the bottom here. I'm learning a lot as I'm experimenting with this first cell. First pro tip is to have napkins nearby. I don't know why I didn't. I thought that I'd be able to do it with the gloves and everything, but it's hard to turn the camera on and off, and obviously dealing with mud and taking everything out of the package beforehand. I thought that the anode and cathode were already prepared, but the wire is actually not inside of either of them yet. So I just did a little research. And what you should do to prep these, at least from this kit, is we have these graphite cathode and anodes. That's what they're made of in this kit. And the longer part of what isn't green or orange for the other wire goes into the cathode or anode. So I'm gonna push this through to prepare it. There you go. That's set, so it's all in there, and there's this tiny part out right here at the top, but the longer part should go into it. And I'm gonna repeat this. So this is the anode, and repeat this with the cathode. Now I have a prepared cathode and anode. And next up is, and once this is all level and I feel like there isn't any air bubbles to the first layer here, I put in the anode. So this circular part, which is great that it fits right into the size of this container, goes in, and obviously the wire is going to stay out. So just having it along the side, I'm curving it out of the way a little bit so it's easier. And I'm just pushing it in to make sure there's no air bubbles. So it should be on top and the wire on the side. And after this, we are gonna put some more mud up until the 5 centimeter mark, so almost at the top. I think we've reached the 5 centimeter mark. So again, I'm just making it as leveled as I can. I'm trying not to get air bubbles. There we go. What we need to do next is place the cathode on the top. We want to be careful not to get any mud on the top of it. We want the bottom of the cathode to interface, obviously, again with our waste mixture, but the top should be as waste-free as possible and just be interfacing with oxygen. So I think I'm actually going to take this glove off, even though they were gloves in the video, and place this in there so that there isn't any of this on the top of it. Just gonna bend the wire up again so it doesn't get in the way. And we don't want the green and the orange wire, or the 2 wires, to be right beside each other. So I'm gonna put this one to the side of the green wire a little bit. Yeah, I think it's really awesome that these are like the circle shapes. So they fit perfectly in this kit. And I think that's pretty good. We have it sitting right on top of the mud. I'll just push this part down a bit. Yeah, it's good. And the top is mud-free. We have our mud hidden in here, an anode, more mud, and at the top our cathode, and then some space for oxygen. The next part is just to clean the rim here and any of this top part to get rid of any excess mud from setting this up. And then I'll put the lid on. Actually, no, I'm not gonna put the lid on yet. I'm letting this sit for 5 minutes, and I'm supposed to drain out any water that might be in here, although I don't think there is much water in here, but just in case, we're supposed to check after 5 minutes of letting this settle, and then we'll put the lid on and set up the hacker board. Now it's been 10 minutes or so. I let my cell sit, and then I pressed down on the cathode over the sink to let any extra water or anything out. However, there wasn't much, which was great, and then I tried to clean the top a little bit more. Next, what we're gonna do is install the hacker board and connect the wires, which are the final parts of the installation. So at the top of this kit, there's a place to connect the little MudWatt hacker board, which has a little dot here and connects to this part. So the hacker board will click in right there. In these two holes, we're gonna put the orange wire and the green wire. So I'm gonna thread the orange wire into this hole on the left first, and the green wire into the hole on the right. Once those are in, I'm going to click this till it's shut properly. And it already is, so perfect. What I did with the wires that came out of the top is I put the orange one into this first pin closest to it, which is the positive side, and the green one onto the other side, the pin that's the negative one. So they're all numbered, or they have the positive and the negative. And there's 8 pins. So the next row of pins closest to these wires, I'm gonna put the first LED. 2 LEDs came in this kit. There's this one that I believe is black, and this one that's red. There's a long leg and a short leg. What we're gonna do is bend the long leg just a slight bit, and the longer side that's bent is gonna go into the first pin closest to the orange. And the shorter one's gonna go into the second pin right beside it in that row, closest to the green. So it should look like that. The LED and the 2 arches from the cathode and the anode. Now there's another row right after that. We're gonna skip that. I'm gonna go to the final row farthest down on this hacker board. And it's numbered 5 and 6. Same thing with the long leg, which is this one. We're gonna bend it just a little bit. And that's gonna go onto pin 5. This is the first microbial fuel cell that I put together. I'm calling it MFCSN1, so microbial fuel cell serial number 1, kind of inspired by the starships that SpaceX builds, and they call them different serial numbers. So I don't know if I'll give it a real name, but you can comment a fun name for this fuel cell below. I would love to hear and come up with a more official name for this one, but I'm hoping that there is a bunch of electrobacteria in here and it'll start generating electricity that I can test the voltage for.